We are live. Yes, yes, live to fight another day with SDP on MMA. I'm Shadow Don, joined by Skylar Don, and we are SDP on MMA. We're happy to be here with you. We are going to first break down some post-fight analysis on last Friday's UFC Fight Night 116. We had some big winners, some big losers, and some crazy fights went down. We got a lot to cover, and then we're going to jump in after that. We will jump into making our predictions and a little bit of fight analysis for the upcoming fights this Friday, UFC Fight Night 117.
In Japan.
Yeah.
And I think it's a pretty good card, personally. Lots of good talent. Luke Jumeau, Ulka Sasaki, Keita Nakamura. Let's see, Claudia Gadelha versus Jessica Andrade. That's a big one. And OSP versus Yushin Okami for the main event. So it's going to be a good. We're packed full of good fights on Friday night.
I agree. All right, well, let's jump into what went down last Saturday.
Yeah, we both went 6-4, and I don't really know what happened to me earlier there. I mean, we started off with Jason Sego and Gilbert Burns, and I would have never guessed Burns was going to knock out Sego. I thought it was going to be a 3-round decision grind. What did you think?
I thought it was going decision too. I was a bit shocked by the knockout, but hey, at least I got my first win of the night. I think it started the show off perfectly because it was a roller coaster that evening. But yeah, it was that was a good fight. I think Sego, he just got rocked, man. That's all there was to it. He just got his lights got turned off.
Yep, clean right hand right across the chin, and lights went out, and that's a loss for me and a win to you, so congrats to you.
Thank you very much, sir. The second fight that evening was what?
The big one, Krzysztof Jotko versus Uriah Hall. And
another crazy one.
That one was crazy because if y'all haven't seen the fight yet, Jotko had Uriah Hall basically, like a lot of people were saying on Twitter, and a lot of the MMA community was saying that should have been called in round one because Hall was everywhere rocked.
Jotko had him, I mean, literally, all he could do was cover up. Jotko had that first round without a doubt. I don't know what happened. Second round, Hall came out a different fighter.
Yeah, Jotko got gassed in the first trying to get the finish. And of course, we said it in our predictions for this card that if Uriah Hall is on, and he turned it on in the second round, he could put anybody to sleep, and that's exactly what he did.
That's
clean,
exactly
straight right.
That's exactly what we said. If he comes out there and performs at his best, he'll be dangerous. But again,
he got lucky.
He got lucky, man, because what a chin. I mean, he really, really was able to take a hard pounding and come back and pull that off. Two crazy fights right off the bat. By the way, Uriah Hall did take performance of the night that evening.
That was crazy.
So yeah, that brought us up to the another crazy upset with Daniel Spitz and Anthony Hamilton.
Yeah, that one was nuts because we didn't take Spitz to be a knockout artist, and in the last video, we really, really projected him to go to the ground or be against the fence and grind, and the dude came out looking great. I really liked his stance. I liked how active his feet were, and everything looked pretty sharp. And Hamilton, we also said in the last video, if he comes in and leaves his chin out, he's always susceptible getting knocked out. And this is now 2 back-to-back fights, round 1 KOs in almost the same exact fashion. I am not happy with Hamilton. That'll be the last time I ever go with him.
Yeah, I say there's still a lot to be seen on this Daniel Spitz guy. I'm not going to jump on the bandwagon just yet. I think that was a lucky shot. We'll see. The future for this guy will tell the true tale because he's got to get up there and face some seriously ranked fighters before I say anything else.
Right. So that puts me at 0-3, and that puts you at 1-2.
I was at 1-2. Yeah, I had to think about that. All right, next fight, lightweight division: Tony Martin versus OAM. Aubin Mercier, in my opinion, came out and did exactly enough to get the job done.
Yeah, round one you could have scored to either guy. Mercier had his takedown and Martin had his striking. Second round was Mercier just put it on him with the jiu-jitsu and taking his back and not letting Martin go anywhere. And then the third round, Martin, Oliver was lucky to get it, or Olivier, sorry. Yeah, he was almost put out there in the third round, so that fight could have gone either way. I had it Martin just because I obviously wanted Martin to win, but that big second round for Mercier was, I think that's what did it.
I don't remember exactly how I called that. I just know that made my second win of the night, so I was 2 for 2 at that point.
And that puts me at 0-4, but I get the rest right.
Right, and that was a split decision. So, OAM, just like I said, just did enough to get by there. The next one was crazy, dude. The heavyweight fight between Justin Ledet and Zhu Onyanwu. First of all, I want to say this. I didn't think Zhu could actually go 3 rounds.
He was pushing.
Yeah, Ledet, all he did was box the entire time. It literally was a boxing match. I still don't know what there is to be said. Ledet's just a big boxer. He looks like he's a cool guy. But I haven't seen a lot of MMA out of this dude. I know he's a great boxer. He's got great hands. He's really quick, real precise, real crisp. Heavy overhand right uppercut. I like how he was able to just maintain distance with the jab the entire fight. But I got to give it up to Zhu, man. That guy stayed in there for 3 solid rounds and was actually coming on strong in the third. So there was a lot of activity that I wasn't expecting. I thought the longer that fight went, the lazier that was going to become, and it proved just the opposite. Again, Ledet winning by split decision. It could have went either way for me.
I could give Onyanwu the third round, but I think that Ledet's boxing, and I think I said it when we were watching the fight, his left jab is the fastest in the heavyweight division, probably the fastest heavyweight jab I've ever seen. And yes, Onyanwu got his shots in. He had huge overhand rights that connected.
That's all he had.
But that's all he had, whereas Ledet was really picking him down. And, I don't know. I give the first 2 rounds to Ledet, clearly. I know that some people in the MMA community actually think Onyanwu won that fight, and there was a ref that night that scored it 2 rounds for Onyanwu too. But I don't know. I scored that from a boxing perspective, and from a boxing perspective, Onyanwu just got picked off to me. He connected.
I'll have to go back and take a look at significant strikes landed and what have you. I'd do a little bit more homework on that. But nonetheless, where that's going to take Ledet next is beyond me.
Right.
I just don't know what's going to happen to the guy when somebody takes him to the ground. I expect him to do everything he did, and actually more, because I thought he'd put Zhu out. I thought he had the power to do that, and Zhu just took everything, but the kitchen sink. So, yeah. Anyways, well, good fight. It was a great fight. We both got that. I think we both went with Ledet, right?
Yep, both got a win there.
So, anyways, moving on. Another great fight with Kamaru Usman and Sergio Moraes. I was shocked.
Yeah. You were shocked?
Yeah, I really was. I thought Moraes was going to bring more to that. And he hung in there for a little while, but clearly the strength just bullied him. Usman controlled that completely. He has grown leaps and bounds as a fighter. I was thoroughly impressed. The only thing I really didn't care for was just his overall attitude, man. I mean, it's just he was in my opinion, more well spoken and better composed in his post fight interview. And I was like, oh, okay, well, you know, maybe he's just juiced up and amped up when he's in the ring and what have you, but it just comes off as kind of like a badass. And you know, look, dude, I give the guy mad respect now. You know, I really do. He's the real deal. There's nothing else to be said about that. I mean, the guy's well rounded everywhere. What did you think of the fight?
I didn't expect a round one KO. I could tell you that. I expected pressure, which I think I said in the last video. I mean, Usman is really, really good at driving people against the fence and taking the fight from you. So I kind of expected that outlook and for Sergio to be on the back foot, but to get a round one KO from a punch from Usman, it just shows he's worked on things, he's priming things, and it's all coming together for him. And you can't deny the dude's strength is on another level.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he literally had his way with Sergio, in my opinion. I mean, he just bullied him around the ring. I just got to say right now, this card was amazing. I mean, we were having a blast, right? And it followed up. We were really excited about this next fight, Gregor Gillespie versus Jason Gonzalez, lightweight division. And let me tell you, it was everything we said it was going to be. Gregor, or it was the fight of the night. That's what it was. And man, if you get a chance, just go pull that one up, because that one is truly worth seeing. What a banger.
Yeah, and not to mention Jason Gonzalez, I believe that was his first fight in the UFC, right? No, it was his third fight. So
yeah, he took that on short notice.
Yeah, so to go against Gregor on short notice like that, and he showed up in the first round. Was he eating shots? Yes, but Gillespie really was just putting it on him. And then Gonzalez, I think, clocked him with like 2 or 3 big right hands. And Gillespie woke up and said, yeah, we're going to take this to the ground. You're bigger than I am. So that was really cool to see him end it by the arm triangle. That was really cool.
Yeah, it was a second round submission. And I was wrong. Jason didn't take that on short notice. I got that confused with another fight.
That was Alex Reyes.
Yeah, exactly. And but again, man, just like you said, Gregor was the smaller guy there, and dude, he just you could just see the strength and everything he threw. It was just like, I think he overwhelmed Jason Gonzalez. Like I don't even think Jason realized what was coming. I mean, it was like a whirlwind every time they got close, and Gregor seemed to get the best of every shot.
Yeah, Gregor's hands, that's something to worry about, and I think that the world needs to pay attention to it, because his hand speed is on another level. He is not the biggest guy by any means, but his hands are super precise. I love it. I love it.
And then when they went to the ground, he was in just total dominance and control. Everything he did. I mean, it was textbook.
Yep. So that was 3 consecutive wins for me right there.
Right.
And now we move on to Anthony Smith versus Hector Lombard.
Yeah, go ahead, man. Go ahead. You say all you got to say.
Well, first of all, I didn't expect Hector Lombard to come out and chop that lead leg. I mean, that was a really good game plan, and I didn't expect him to do it. I just was expecting the big bomb, which I think, according to the last video, is what you had said too: the strength, the grind, the big shot. That's what Hector Lombard's known for. But man, well, he was gassing in the third, and so was Smith a little bit, and he was really hurting on that leg. But Smith, there's something about him in the past 2 years that's changed, where he's become really intense and focused on getting the knockout. And what a better round to choose than the third round, about halfway through the round. Remember, he was talking shit to Hector Lombard. He was saying shit to him. Like,
oh, yeah.
Like, now you know my name, Hector.
Oh, yeah, he said, you know my name now, Hector? You know my name? Actually, that's the only negative thing I really want to throw at him is I hate that persona that he has inside the ring, because the guy that was interviewed right after the fight was so articulate, well-spoken, seemed really knowledgeable about, the way he was already breaking down the fight. That tough thug, thing that comes off inside the ring. I don't know, man. I mean, we had that in Rampage Jackson. I don't think we really need that again. We know what they're there to do, and I understand them getting amped up. I understand these fighters need to reach down and some of them need a drive. You know, some of them need to find that angry spot. But that doesn't mean it has to carry into being a jackass. You know, he could have said all that. He didn't need to carry on, I felt, as long as it did. Because, I mean, he was saying it, you know, he probably said it 15, 20 times.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel what you're saying, but I also feel the other way where Hector said in the UFC interview that who is this kid and I don't know his name. And I don't know. That's a little bit disrespectful for fighters. We're in the same weight class. And who knows? Anthony Smith might have felt disrespected. I say might have. Actually, he did. He even said it in the post-fight interview. So, I mean, I don't know. It worked for him. You can't take that from him. In the third round, he was letting Hector know, you know who I am now. And Hector took a big, deep breath and then hit him with a couple big shots. And then, I mean, literally, Anthony just did what I thought he was going to do, use the range with that right hand, and finally it connected.
Yeah, boy, I tell you what, that kid can take a punch.
God, he took a
man. I mean,
straight.
He really will. He will eat a shot to give a shot. So yeah, mad respect to that guy. I mean, really and truly, if he changes his attitude a little bit in the ring, I probably like him a whole lot more. But yeah, I can't take anything away from his performance the other night, other than to say that work on that defense, man. Because he with the range, he shouldn't have taken as many hard, devastating shots as Hector was able to get in there. That's just my personal critique. But excellent fight once again.
Yeah.
And these next two fights just, I mean, they capped the night. Mike Perry took on the guy that, you know, jumped in for short notice, Alex Reyes. Poor guy. We talked about it last week. Every analyst that I went and listened to pretty much said the same thing. Just feel bad for the guy. And yeah, man, I think even Mike Perry felt bad for him when it was all said and done.
Yeah. Well, I don't think Mike Perry feels anything, first of all. But it's been exactly. I think I said it on the last video. I said I feel sorry for Reyes before the fight even happened. And who knows, Mike Perry might have another knockout of the year candidate going with this knee that he put right on the dude's forehead. I don't know why that dude signed that fight. I just don't. I don't.
Well, dude took his chance and
he paid for it.
He paid for it, man. Yeah, Perry, first round knockout. Also took performance of the night. So, yeah, let me say this, man. Mike Perry was calling out
Robbie Lawler
at the end there. I don't know if he's there. I don't know if he deserves that just yet. But somewhere right up underneath there. And then, you know, let's see what he does. But you got to get some guys in there that are a little bit more seasoned before I think you're going to get a shot at 1 through 5. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't think Lawler will be his next fight, but I think that was a projection to mean like I belong in the top 5. And you should always be doing that after a big KO, especially in the first round. You should always be trying to call somebody out to get you there because this kid keeps it up.
Yeah.
And stays on the road he's going. I don't know who's going to stop him.
Man, he's exciting.
It's exciting. Every fight he has is exciting. Yep. And even his loss was exciting in the first round. He just gassed out, and you have to learn from that. Hell, even Robbie Lawler's learned from that over and over again.
Right.
But wow, if that fight does get booked, that's going to be explosive. Platinum versus the Ruthless One.
Yeah, like I said, I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. He's gonna have to break through somewhere between, you know, underneath the top 1 through 5 before I see him getting that fight. But who knows? Crazier things have happened.
Right.
Nothing else can be said other than that Mike Perry's bringing it every time, and we love watching that kid fight. Exciting. That just says everything. So yeah, the night closed off with the main event: Luke Rockhold versus David Branch, middleweight division. Let me tell you, yeah, what an awesome fight to have seen, because I wanted nothing more than to see Rockhold shut David Branch up. It's exactly what he did. There was nothing that could be said at the end of that other than my own personal critique comes down to Luke Rockhold, and that is, brother, I love you. I always have. I love watching you fight. I'm sure you're going to get your second chance if Bisping sticks around after his joint George St. Pierre, hopefully win. So maybe you'll get your second chance there. But I tell you this much, you go in fighting Bisping with your hands down the way you did against David Branch, and Bisping will knock your ass out again.
I 100% agree. There is no reason Branch should. I mean, he was outstriking Luke Rockhold as of the first round. If you go watch in the first, I think, minute or two of the fight, Branch, I mean, had those been Bisping punches that connected with what Branch did connect on Rockhold, Rockhold's lights would be turned out. Yep. And I'm actually surprised Branch didn't put him out in the first. But, God, it's almost like that shook Rockhold up, and Rockhold went, not today. Not today. Second round just put it on him. And how about the controversial tap while taking the abuse?
Yeah, I was just going to say something to you about that. I've never seen that. I've never seen someone getting their ass whooped from somebody mounted on their back and they tap from strikes. I've just never seen it. I've seen a ref jump in and stop it from TKO, just thinking that the guy's getting too much of abuse. But I don't know, man. And honestly, what does my opinion matter? All I'm gonna say is, you made Branch eat those words, and even more so when you made him tap out like a bitch.
He did, and go watch it. Go watch the end of that fight. He wasn't being submitted. He was being pressured, and he didn't have a way out. So he took the easy way out. And this is the Brooklyn Bully. This is the shit talker that was going to supposedly break right. Luke Rockhold. And the things he was saying were just absolutely ridiculous. And I loved what Luke did after he made him like he was taking shots to the back of the head, curled up like this, and tapping on the ground while taking the shots. I mean, I've seen that maybe 3 times live, and it never gets old because with the amount of shit that this guy talked before that happened, it felt good for it to happen. So, yeah, way to go, Luke Rockhold. If you fight Bisping the way that you fought David Branch, you're fucked. Just saying.
Yeah, that's pretty much exactly what I walked away with. That same feeling was it better be a different ball game when you right. When you come to fight Bisping, if he gets that chance. Because I've been, like I said, the forecast is Bisping may retire after the George St. Pierre fight.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know. I think the Rockhold versus the count has to happen for that third fight since they have 2.
The trilogy, huh?
Yeah, kind of like the Nate Diaz and Conor fight has to happen. Will it happen in 6 months? We don't know, but it has to happen. Mm. Those are money fights.
Well, I can't wait. I'd love to see both. So, yeah, we both wound up 6-4. At least we're on the positive end of that spectrum. That was a tough night. I mean, there were some crazy things that went down right up front, and then a lot of stuff went exactly the way it should have. So yeah,
down towards the last 6 fights for me, which is where I caught wins. I feel like everything I had studied in film had come through, but those first 4 fights, other than the Martin versus Mercier fight, I thought that could have gone either way. The Hamilton fight, the Jotko, the Sego, I don't know how you could have predicted those outcomes, and if you did, great job, because I didn't see it coming.
Yeah, it was crazy. All right, so that wraps that up. Brings us up to the UFC Fight Night 117, coming up Friday, September 23rd at Saitama Super Arena in Saitama, Japan. It's going to be live on FXX. Jump right in. The first fight is Daichi Abe versus Hyun Gyu Lim. And I'll let you start off here while I pull up my information.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting fight. There's not a whole lot of film out there on Abe, but from what I saw is he has huge knockout ability in his right hand, like a super hard straight right. Another guy on this card throws a similar right, Teruto Ishihara, where if the right hand clips you, you're going down, and he's done it to every one of his opponents he's fought. He has good inside leg kicks. I like how he has compact, short jabs. I think that really, really plays into his favor being 5'11". He stands a bit stiff, so he needs a little more developing in that area, and he eats punches because his head stays stationary. But with all that being said, I like the trade-off. I like the trade-off, meaning that in contrast to his uppercut, which is deadly. And when the dude smells blood, he becomes an animal. I like to see those characteristics, and I'd rather take a stationary head movement to clip somebody with the right hand rather than it be the opposite, them not have the killer instinct but have movement, if that makes sense.
Sure.
And then you've got, I'm going to butcher this name, Hyun Gyu Lim.
Yep.
Let me know if I got that right, fight fans.
That works for me.
He's a KO artist, and the only problem with this guy, he's got 2 back-to-back knockouts by Neil Magny and Mike Perry. And so he's just a bit chinny, but man, he fights mean. He's 6'2". He's 32 years old. He swings really wide. He's got a good jab when it connects. It's just not very accurate. His hands stay super low, which Abe's not the guy you want your hands low. He telegraphs his shots a lot. He loves flying knees. He's just wild. If you like wild fighters, you'll really like this guy. But he's terrible against the fence in film study. He's terrible on the ground in film study. I'm just not seeing it here. I'm going to take the newcomer Abe for the win.
Wow, okay. Well, we're going opposites. Abe, this is his UFC debut. He's been fighting out of Pancrase. He throws really hard punches. He's a brawler. He'll take a punch to counter a punch all day long. Doesn't seem like he's scared of anything inside that ring, man. Like you said, he comes straight at you. He's going to give Lim a run for his money, but ultimately, I don't think he's got the experience that Lim brings to the table.
Right.
I think it'll be what loses the fight for him, unless he manages to find his big right home, right on that button. Because, like you said, Lim is prone to go down. Lim being a Taekwondo expert, boxer, really good striker, professional career began in 2006. So this guy's a seasoned vet. 10 of his 13 wins by knockout. Dude fought in Sprint MC, M1 Challenge, Pacific Extreme Combat. Had his first fight in the UFC in 2013 with a win right off the bat. He knocked out Marcelo in second round. So, like you said, his last 2 losses both came from TKO.
Right hands, by the way.
Yeah, and from watching those fights, it leaves me worried about the power Abe brings to the table. But other than that, Lim is the more experienced fighter, and he can knock his opponents out too. So he comes from years of training in boxing. I'm just worried about his chin. But with all that said, I'm taking Lim by decision.
Fair enough.
Yep. We'll talk about it next week.
Right.
So the second fight, Shinsho Anzai versus Luke Jumeau in the welterweight division. I'll start this one off. Anzai, mixed martial artist, wrestler, 31 years old. Fought most of his professional career in Pancrase as well. Got a lot of Pancrase fighters on this card. This is his 3rd UFC appearance. He's had 1 loss to Alberto Mina in his UFC debut. Mina knocked him out in the first round. Second fight was a win over Roger Zapata in 2015 with a TKO late in the 3rd round. Before his debut loss, he only had one other loss out of 9 fights. So, the dude's a banger. Jumeau, he's from New Zealand, 29 years old. He's a kickboxer, Brazilian jiu-jitsu artist, taekwondo artist. Guy's got 12 wins, 5 by KO, 4 losses. He made his UFC debut just recently here in 2017, and he took a win over Dominic Steele by unanimous decision. That's a tough one. So it shows the guy can bang for a solid 3 as well. Before that, he had a lot of fights in Extreme Fighting Championships, Legend MMA, Australian Fighting Championships as well. This one, I'm really not sure what to expect, but I took a stab, and I think I'm gonna stick with it here. I'm gonna go with Jumeau by decision. What do you think?
I think it's a good projection. Anzai, don't get me wrong, man. The guy is a grinder. He's coming out of Team Climb in Tokyo, and he's got knockout potential clearly with 7 KOs. His game plan seems too stationary to me. It seems to be very one dimensional, and if you throw off that aspect, then what do you got? And I didn't see anything else in film. It seems to be the push you against the cage. I want to grind you there. I want to keep control, and I want to gather points as I go and hope that I land something heavy. Whereas the Jedi, Luke, he's 12-3 for a reason, and I think he's fresher. He's taller by 3 inches. He's coming out of Phuket top team, so I love top team guys. He seems a little more well-rounded, like you said. He's good in every facet of the game, and he also seems like he can grind because Dom tried to do that to him. So I'm gonna go Jumeau with you by decision.
All right.
Actually, I'm gonna go by knockout.
Okay. We skipped the first one. Let me just go back. Vegas odds have Lim favored -135, Abe +105. Luke Jumeau is favored here -250, Anzai +195. So yeah, I guess Luke's favored here, and for all the things that we just said, Anzai's a little bulldog, man. Like you said, and he will just nonstop go for that takedown. And
nonstop.
And I'm really hoping Jumeau has prepared for that.
I think you would have to, especially at top team. I think we're good here. I really do.
I'm hoping so. So we jump into the women's strawweight division. Syuri Kondo versus Mi Jeon. And I went and watched fights for both of these chicks because I didn't know anything about them. This is her UFC debut, excuse me. She's known as the strawweight queen of Pancrase, so another Pancrase fighter. She was just awarded that in February of 2017. She's a professional wrestler, a Shuto boxer, amazing kickboxing record with only 1 loss of 14. 28 years old in professional MMA. She's 5-0. Great striker, but I have not seen her on the ground yet. A lot of Pancrase fights stay on the feet. They bang it out. A lot of kickboxing, a lot of Muay Thai. I watched her fight against Minna Grösander from Finland, and Sayuri's strikes proved to be the end of Minna. That match looked like a high-level kickboxing match, and Kondo got the better of the two. She's got an awesome overhand right, which is going to come in handy too, I think. Jeon, this is her second fight in the UFC. She's 20 years old. She's just a baby girl. I watched her first fight against JJ Aldrich, and she put up a tough fight. But in the end, she lost by unanimous decision to JJ, being the more seasoned fighter, I think. This being her second shot, I think she's going to bring it, but I'm not sure she has enough to take on Kondo. After seeing Kondo, man, that girl's a brute. I could be wrong, but there's little film out there on these women to get a real accurate idea of what they can do to their opponents. With all that being said, I am taking Kondo. The question is, how am I taking Kondo? I've got Kondo by decision. So I think Jeon can take a punch. She sure as hell did with JJ. That girl was bleeding by the end of that match. Went all 3. I think she'll do it with Kondo, but Kondo's probably going to beat her up.
Yeah, I think if Kondo's going to win it, it's going to be by decision. I just think we have 2 very different fighters here. We have one shorter, more compact wrestling, kind of good everywhere, not too dominant in any particular area, but just seems to be good all over. And Jeon, she has a little bit of UFC experience. That JJ Aldrich fight, wow, I mean, they banged it out, and that was a really good fight. I like what I saw from her. The only thing I didn't like is she had no head movement. But otherwise, a lot of other things looked really good. And I like how she has knockout potential. And with her being 5'6", the bigger fighter here, I'm just going to go on a wing here and go Jeon. I'm feeling like this will be her fight, her redemption fight, whereas this is Kondo's entry fight. So I could be wrong, but...
Okay, well, listen to this. The Vegas odds have them perfectly evenly matched at negative 115 apiece.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, so this could go either way. Another fight where you and I are different already. So we are to the flyweight division with Jussier Formiga versus Ulka Sasaki. Why don't you go ahead?
Yeah, this will be a really interesting fight for a couple different reasons. Silva's 9-5, 32 years old. He's 5'5", and I don't know if you know this, but Sasaki is 5'10", so it's big difference. Silva's coming out of Kimura Nova União. He's got 8 submission wins, 11 decision wins, and wins over guys like Dustin Ortiz, Wilson Hayes. He's got 2 KO losses, 3 decision losses. I really like how when he applies pressure, he brings footwork, and I think that that's really important in a fight. I really like how quick his hands are. I like how he uses that short little leg kick. He looks to be really comfortable in the clinch. He hung with Cejudo there for a long time, and Cejudo's a master of the clinch. And he's excellent at getting your back. If this dude gets your back, in all likelihood, it's probably over. And I really like his submission transitions. But I'm going to go Sasaki, and it's the biggest underdog on the card. You probably call me crazy, but I called his last fight, too, when he was a huge underdog versus Justin Scoggins. And the only reason why I'm going to pick Sasaki is not that he's better at jiu-jitsu, not that he's really better at anything than Silva. He's just so big in comparison. And the leverage that you can have on the ground, everything I've seen on film, he goes to the ground and gets on top or takes your back. He is just the bigger man. So guys give up. They wear down because he's so big. In all likelihood, Sasaki's going to lose this first round. I'm willing to accept that. But as the fight goes, you start to notice the dude doesn't ever gas out, and he's really hard-headed. He's got great double leg takedowns when he's pressuring the opponent. I like how he's tall enough to use ice pick elbows from the back. You don't see very many guys doing that. He's just unorthodox in a lot of different ways, and it's hard to find guys that weight at that height, which makes me wonder, Silva being at Nova União, I don't know of any guys at Nova União right now that have this guy's makeup, and Sasaki has all of Japan behind him. So, yeah, I'm going to go with the biggest underdog of the night here.
Okay, so you're going to go with Sasaki. I guess I am going to go with Formiga. Only thing I can really say, you said a lot about him. Formiga's pro record's 19 wins and 5 losses, but those losses were to big names, like his last fight with Ray Borg, Henry Cejudo, Joseph Benavidez, John Dodson. This guy's a warrior. If he takes your back, exactly what you said, look out. He's a great striker. He's got incredible ground game both on top and from the bottom. Sasaki, man, this guy's debut in UFC back in 2014, he's had six fights inside the octagon, 3 losses, 3 wins. I'd say his most notable win was his last fight against Justin Scoggins, just this past June of this year, and he submitted Justin by rear naked in the second round. Before that, he took a loss by unanimous decision to Wilson Hayes. Formiga won over Wilson Hayes. So I am really torn on this one, but my gut is telling me Formiga. So, Jussier, go get you some. I'm going with you by decision.
I got Sasaki by submission.
All right. And let's see. Vegas says Formiga, wow, negative 450. Sasaki plus 325. So Vegas is definitely leaning on Formiga on this one.
Yeah. I just want to say, though, Sasaki was, I think I caught him at plus 375 in his last fight, and I hit. So, just saying, if you want to, it might be your sleeper, it might be your dog, because the dude, I'm telling you, you're going to probably have to tap him out and take his back, because if he takes yours, he's just as deadly as Silva. So I don't think the odds quite reflect what's going on. The dangers that Sasaki's bringing to the table, especially in front of his home country, that's a big deal.
Right. Well, our next fight is in the welterweight division. Keita Nakamura versus Alex Morono. I'll start off. Nakamura, 33-year-old mixed martial artist and wrestler from Japan. Got a ton of fights under his belt, 32 wins and 8 losses. He's fought in and out of the UFC, first back in 2006. He had 3 straight losses in the UFC. Went to fight for Cage Force, Legend, Shuto, all in Asia, mostly in Japan, and then came back to the UFC in 2015. He's had 2 wins since then. Most notable win probably was Kyle Noke, where he won by rear naked choke in the second round, and 2 losses, including his last fight in 2016 versus Eli Zaleski dos Santos by unanimous decision. I watched that one. That was a banger of a fight. Those 2 gave it hell. But he clearly lost. Morono, 27-year-old, trained in boxing as a youth, black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, black belt in Taekwondo, began his career in Legacy in 2010. Dude's got 13 wins and 3 losses, had a ton of fights from Legacy and Fury Fighting when he entered into UFC in 2016. His first fight was a win against Kyle Noke, and he took that by split decision. His second match was against James Munsari, where he won by unanimous decision. But his last fight, he was knocked out by Nico Price in February of this year. The fight was ruled a no contest because Nico tested positive for weed. Way to go, Nico. Absolutely crazy, but Morono gets to erase a horrible loss on his record. I am leaning on Morono for this one. I think he's going to take it by decision. What do you think?
I think Nakamura, he's just such a composed veteran of the sport, and I think that's the right word to use for him. He's got composure, and a lot of it, he's got great takedowns. He depends on the takedown, which worries me in this fight. But at the same time, he's got this zombie kind of style about him. Eat shots just to take you down and grind you or try to find some type of submission. I mean, clearly he's got 17 submission wins for a reason. That's the game plan with Nakamura. I just don't see it working here. I really don't. Morono has the jiu-jitsu background from Gracie Barra, where I just don't see Nakamura winning this fight in any way. He's going to have to clip Morono to put him out, because Morono is going to go every round and give it everything he's got. And that's why we like him the way we do. But he's Morono's a tall Muay Thai stance. His Thai kicks, his Taekwondo black belt. He's got movement from hell, like probably some of the best Muay Thai movement in the UFC, I would say. His push kicks, his big right hooks. He's a clinch bully and a pressure bully. So he activates this other gear that you don't see a whole lot of fighters have, where a lot of fighters try to put guys against the cage and grind it out from there. He's looking for the finish, meaning like if he has an opportunity to throw a straight right, he's throwing the biggest hook you've ever seen. And that's gotten him clipped in the past, which we've seen. But he's ferocious, and I like him here. And I like him here a lot. I'd put him on a parlay.
Vegas has got Morono at -145, so just slight edge. Keita at +115.
Yeah, I go Morono all day, especially at those odds.
I'm with you. I like Morono. You got him. How is he going to win?
Knockout. Oh, wait. Yeah. Nakamura's only been knocked out once. No, I'll go knockout. Morono hits hard enough. That big right hand is all it takes.
Okay. Well, I'm taking him by decision. All right. Brings us to our next fight in the featherweight division. Mizuto Hirota versus Charles Rosa. Go ahead.
Yeah, so we got Charles Rosa, 11-3, 5'10". He's 31 years old, and he's coming out of American Top Team, which is why I'm going to take Charles Rosa in this fight. He's orthodox. He has the ability to switch stances, which I like. That's something not a whole lot of guys can do and feel comfortable with, but he looks great from both stances from my perspective. He's got switch kicks. The only thing I don't like about him is he's a back foot fighter, and his hands stay really low because he's looking for kicks all the time. But yeah, I like Rosa over Hirota in this. I think that Hirota is 36 years old. He's 5'7". He's the smaller opponent here. He depends on the KO, and he loses by decision all of the time. So yeah, I'm gonna go Rosa, and I feel comfortable with this one too.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. Hirota, dude's fought out of all kinds of fighting organizations in Japan, like Shudo, Cage Force, World Victory. Dude's got 18 wins, 8 losses. He's fought in the UFC since 2013. He was on the road to UFC, which was that Japan tournament, much like the Tough TV series. He faced Teruto Ishihara, who's also on the card tonight in the finals. It was declared a draw, and actually both fighters were awarded their UFC contract.
That fight was awesome, by the way.
It was. It was a banger. Since then, he's had 1 win over Cole Miller by unanimous decision, and his most recent fight was a loss to Alexander Volkanovski. Volkanovski just beat his ass up. Lost that by unanimous decision in June of this year. This is a tough guy whose record shows he does not get knocked out. Only one of his losses was due to a submission. This guy goes to the end. He's a fighter. He's a warrior. Win, lose, or draw. It's going to go all the way, I believe. I've got Rosa by decision. Rosa's fought at featherweight, lightweight, welterweight. You mentioned it. America Top Team. I love that. His first fight in UFC was back in 2014 against Dennis Seaver, and he lost that by unanimous decision. And then he had a win, a loss, a win, another loss. And at his last fight in April of this year versus Shane Burgos, he brought it. Shane got a TKO, but dude, they were banging, man. I mean, that happened late in the 3rd round. The big difference here against Hirota is he's not Shane Burgos, so I'm not sure if Rosa can if he can finish Hirota, but I don't think Hirota can finish Rosa. I'm going with Rosa, like I said, by decision. That's going to be a tough one because I think having his fans behind him, Hirota, this may be his last fight in the UFC. This may be his way out. I don't really know. At 36, up and down with his fights. The same thing to be said with Gomi. I just don't know if this is working out for him. But anyways, I'm going with Rosa.
I'm going Rosa by submission, round 3.
And let's see. Vegas has Rosa by -185. Mizuto plus 150. So
seems about right.
Yeah, it does. That seems right on the money to me. So the next fight, the guy we were just talking about, Teruto Ishihara versus Rolando D. Or Dai. I don't know really how to say that. Featherweight division. Go ahead.
This fight for me, I believe is it's gonna be fight of the night. I think this fight's so hard for me to call. You got Rolando Dai. He's 8-5. He's 5'8", 26 years old, coming out of Kratos MMA. I really, really like his Muay Thai foundation. He's got a lot of hype coming from the Philippines. I think he's one of their only fighters in the UFC, and they really like him. So he's got a lot of support. He's got 2 KO wins, 2 submissions, and 4 decision wins. But those were, I can't remember, but those were not in the UFC. And then his losses, he has 3 decision losses, and he came in and fought Alex Caceres for his first fight in the UFC. And he got a TKO due to eye injury. And he was hanging in there until he had that eye injury happen early in round 1. But he's orthodox. He's got quick hands. He's got a quick jab. He looks for the opportunity, and he does have an ability to take a shot. And then you've got Ishihara, who's 9-4, 26 years old. He's 5'7", coming out of Team Alpha Male, and he's got Japan on his home team right now. He's a southpaw. He's super powerful. He's got 8 KOs. But he had a terrible, terrible performance against Gray Maynard because Gray Maynard showed that he has the ability to be taken down. And not just be taken down, but kept down, smothered down, and Ishihara didn't have an answer for anything all 3 rounds that fight, and he really got dominated, and we just didn't expect that. Being from Top Team, I thought he would have something prepared for the takedown. So this was really tough for me because I feel like you're going with the Muay Thai striker, quick points, quick jabs, quick punches, and then you've got the powerhouse, which is Ishihara, where if his right hand or that left hand lands, it's done. Like, like I know. We've seen it in the UFC. So I'm going to go Ishihara by KO. I could totally see that not working in my favor. I could see Dai picking him down because Ishihara loses by decision. 3 of his 4 losses are by decision. So if Dai hopes to hang, it's taking him into deep rounds. But I think, knowing Ishihara, he loves the women. And I don't think you want to be done dirty in front of your hometown, right?
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. Yeah, I don't really have a whole lot to add. I think you nailed just about everything. That was a rough fight against Gray Maynard, and after that was Artem Lobov, and he lost that one by unanimous decision. He desperately needs a win, if he's going to stick around in the UFC, because if you can't beat those guys, what's going to be left for you there? You're going to be a bottom feeder. So. With all that said, being in his hometown, I am going with Ishihara as well, but I'm going to take him by decision.
Decision, huh?
Yeah, and one other thing, Dai, this will be his second fight against a slightly more experienced fighter, and, also against a banger who's going to go all 3 rounds if he has to. So I'm expecting a good fight in this one. We'll see what Vegas says. Vegas says Ishihara -155, Dai +125. So again, just really, really close odds.
Sounds good.
Yeah, which just
I'm only taking Ishihara just because of the strength advantage, though. I mean, that is it. Like, if this goes 3 rounds, I don't think Ishihara will take this. That's just my personal feeling.
All right. Well, we'll see when we get there.
All right.
Next fight in light heavyweight division. Finally, something up my alley. We got UFC newcomer Gökhan Saki versus Henrique da Silva.
Henrique da Silva.
Yep. Saki, in his debut, kickboxer from the Netherlands, Dutch and European Muay Thai champion, K1 World Tournament finalist in 2006. He was ranked number 2 in the world by Glory as the light heavyweight champion, and he signed his multi-deal contract with the UFC early this year. Dana White's got big plans for this guy. I'm anxious to see, what he's going to bring. I'm anxious to see him bang with a guy that we know can go to the distance and also has heavy hands. That being Da Silva, 28-year-old Brazilian black belt in Muay Thai, purple belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Fights out of Elite Combat, where he began his career competing in different northern Brazil promotions. And he compiled a record of 10-0 before signing to the UFC in 2016. This guy had 5 huge fights since then, with only one big win over Joachim Christensen. He's fought some big names, like his last fight against Ion Cutelaba, where he was knocked out in the first round. Paul Craig, Jordan Johnson. He's lost his last 3 straight, and I think he needs this one to stay in the UFC. When he's on his game, this guy's really good. It's a fun fight to watch, but he's got to be on his game. I think Saki's going to bring it to Da Silva, and this might be the fight of the night for me.
I think that fuck it, I'll just cut right to the shit. Silva's going to get hurt. Like I love Henrique. I was really excited for him as a prospect. But I've had to kind of give that up because he's not making the adjustments you need to go further into your division, especially fighting at the weight that they're fighting at. He is taller in this matchup, but that's about the only thing I'm seeing from film that makes me think. Like, don't get me wrong, he can knock out anybody, but the problem is he takes so much goddamn abuse every fight to give it. Yeah. And it's not in like a good way because he can't take the abuse. It's not like the Nate Diaz style where you just take it to find it and wear down the opponent. He just takes it to try and hope to God that one of his punches are going to connect. And if you go study Gökhan What a name, too. If your name's Gökhan, you better be able to fucking kill. That's all I'm saying. But Saki's orthodox. He has the ability to switch stances, which I talked about earlier. That's really good to have in MMA. You'd be amazed on how much that changes the game from a chess matchup in the octagon. Like, it really, you have to think differently based on your stance. So, and Silva doesn't look to make any adjustments. So I think the switching stances is really going to help him. He's got, the thing I like about Saki the most is his savage mentality. Like, everything he throws is with the intent to kill you. Did you see that too?
Yeah.
Everything with, it doesn't matter if there's boxing gloves on, shin pads on, it doesn't matter. The dude knows one gear. It's turned up all the way. And I really think Silva's going to get hurt. I don't see this going past the first round, past the 2.5 minute mark. I really don't.
All right. Well, I got Saki knockout or TKO in round 2.
I'll take round 1 knockout.
And Vegas has it at Saki -175 to Silva +145.
Yeah, there's a reason why the newcomer is so favored. I mean, it doesn't lie. The tape does not lie. Go look at how hard this man hits and you'll know.
All right, next fight in the lightweight division, Takanori Gomi. Old man Gomi, 38 years old, versus Hyun Kim. Not the, is this the Dong? Is this the stun gun Dong?
No, I don't think so.
Gotta pull this up here. Oh yeah, this stun gun.
Is it stun gun?
No, it's not.
I was gonna say.
No, it's not. It's the Maestro. Okay, it's the Maestro Kim. So you want to go first?
Sure. Yeah, I don't know why Gomi's still fighting. And that'll be my wrap up for this fight. I don't know why you're still doing this. Your last win was in 2014. Your last 4 fights have been consecutive losses in round 1. Kim's been knocked out twice, submitted twice, and lost by looks like decision 4 times. So, but he's the fresher fighter. He's the bigger fighter by like 3 or 4 inches. He's the younger fighter by 10 years. I don't know what Gomi's doing. I think this will be it. It's got to be, right? It's got to be.
I'm thinking this is it for Gomi. I think this is his retirement fight in his home amongst his fans. Yeah, this guy had early success, huge success in Pride Fighting Championships, where he won every lightweight accolade that Pride could put together. I mean, everything. He was amazing. He also held a 12-fight win streak in Shudo boxing and was the Shudo lightweight champion. He was also the 4-time All-Japan Combat Wrestling champion. This guy's got a record of 35 wins, 13 losses over his career, but has yet to find success inside the UFC. Racked up 8 losses and only 4 wins. His last win coming in 2014 against Isaac Flagg. I don't even know who that is. I think this is it for Gomi. He's on his way out, and Kim is just adding another check to the win column. Kim's fought out of Legend, Top FC, Spirit MC Promotions. He's got a ton of fights under his belt. Record of 14 wins, 8 losses. Entered into UFC in 2015, and his first fight was a loss, knockout by Dominic Steele, followed by another knockout loss to Marco Polo Reyes. There's nothing. I'm not impressed with Kim either. But again, to your point, I think Gomi's going out. I'd like to see Gomi get the win for him.
Just to top it off.
Just for him, you know what I mean? Just to go out like that. But I'm taking Kim by decision.
I'm taking Kim. Not that I like Kim by any means. There's really nothing I like. I just cannot go for Gomi. I can't do it. You know, it's one of those things where once you've done so terrible in the consecutive pattern that he's done, I mean, his track history just shows he is the 1968 Mustang with way too many miles on it that looks pretty and that at one point packed the power to compete, and that's it. You're a classic. You're a legend. It's time. It's your time.
I think it's done. Kim is favored -350. So I think they see it the same way. Gomi at positive 265. Yeah, Vegas is on. That's heavy. That's probably one of the highest favorite I've seen so far. So yeah, they're seeing it the same way. Kim to win that one.
Right.
All right. Well, the co-main event brings us to Claudia Gadelha versus Jessica Andrade, women's strawweight division. I'll let you start, buddy.
This one, ooh, talk about the hardest fight to call on the card for me. This is it for a couple different reasons. You got Claudia, who's 15-2, amazing record, 28 years old. She's 5'3", coming out of Jackson Wink. And she just submitted Carolina in the first round. And for all of you that don't know, Dad here and I, we were all big about Carolina. We were thinking she was going to get the win over Gadelha and then fight Joanna again for the rematch that I think she still deserves. But I don't know. I can't get a read on Gadelha with that type of victory. I don't know, since that fight only lasted, I think maybe 2 minutes. I just don't know how to rate where exactly she's at. Does her wrestling and her clinch look great? They always do. She's comfortable in the clinch. She's got double leg takedowns from hell. I love how she compacts herself and drives through her takedowns, and she's got super quick hands. But then you got the man beast in Jessica Andrade, who's 16-6, 25 years old, so 3 years younger. She's 5'2", so she's an inch shorter, and she's coming out of Piranha Vale Tudo. So she's got 5 KO wins, so she has the ability to knock women out. 7 submission wins, good at jiu-jitsu, and she has 4 wins by decision as well. But she's also been knocked out twice, submitted twice, and lost by decision twice. And her last fight was a 5-round decision with Joanna, which we were there for. Actually, I have the signed poster right behind me by both of them. So I don't know. I like Andrade in this because of that big right hand, her pit bull mentality. She's got trips from the clinch. She wears you down with not so much accurate punches, but volume. She just doesn't stop swinging, and it's always in a flurry, so you never really know which way it's coming. She comes right at you, ready to hit. So, she's ready to take a hit just so she can hit you 3 times. And her slams and takedowns are just as good as Gadelha's. And she's got a deadly guillotine choke as well. But before I make my decision, what do you got to say about him?
You touched on everything. I would say I think Gadelha easily, it was one of Joanna's toughest opponents to date. The girl's got a gas tank for days. She'll go 5 rounds, no problem. So I would think 3 rounds is going to be a breeze for her. Andrade, everything you said is right on. I mean, this is one tough girl. She's fought, she's fought some big names. Jessica Pena, Joanne Calderwood, Angela Hill. She's proven she's tough as nails, but I think Claudia is just a little stronger, and she's got a better ground game. And that's what I'm leaning on here. I could be wrong, but I see this going all 3 rounds and Gadelha grinding it out to a win. So that's what I'm taking.
It's probably the best game plan for her is to try and get this fight to the ground. I just worry. I really worry because Gadelha is used to fighting taller women like Joanna, like Carolina, like I had the name on the tip of my tongue, but I can't remember. But there's a lot of tall fighters that she's used to taking advantage of and grabbing the legs, finding the takedowns. But what happens when you fight somebody at the same height? And what happens when you fight somebody the same height who actually has knockout potential? Whereas Joanna, she's become the king point striker with all that Muay Thai. This isn't that type of fight at all between Gadelha and Andrade. Andrade is the pit bull, and Gadelha is your classic grappler. And that's just a really tough fight. I think this is another fight of the night candidate. But I'm going to go Andrade just because I like chicks that can knock bitches out. I really do.
All right. We'll have to come back to that one next week for sure. Vegas has got Claudia at -270, Andrade at plus 210. So Vegas is definitely leaning in the favor of Gadelha. Our main event for the evening, light heavyweight, Ovince Saint-Preux versus Yushin Okami. Yushin Okami took this fight on short notice. It was supposed to be Shogun Hua. We were really looking forward to that one. Who was looking to score revenge on OSP from a 2014 knockout loss.
I was so excited for that fight.
Yeah, it was going to be a banger. We were talking about this one at least a month back. And, I mean, since then, OSP, he's won three in a row since that defeat. And, man, it's going to be good. Hua, has won the last 3 in a row since that defeat. So I was thinking it was going to be a killer matchup. Either way, Okami's come to play. He's back in the UFC, and he gets to perform there in his home country of Japan. Let me start here just to say OSP, 35-year-old. He fights out of Knoxville Martial Arts Academy in Tennessee. He used to fight in Strikeforce, XFC, and Shark Fights before signing with UFC. That was back in 2013. His first 4 fights were wins, notable wins, like over Jean Vellante, Nikita Krylov. His first loss in the UFC was to Ryan Bader, and that was by unanimous decision, so he went the distance. He's got 20 wins and 10 losses in his professional career. His last win coming by submission of the Von Flue choke to Marcus Rogerio de Lima in the second round. I went and watched that one. It's a great fight to watch. Highly recommend it. OSP will deliver huge blows, and God help you if he winds up on top. You know what I'm saying? Because when you hit the ground and if he winds up on top, you're going to be in trouble. I got OSP all day on this, just for the record. Okami, his return to the UFC, 36-year-old fighter, black belt in judo, trains with Team Quest. He began fighting in Pride, another Pancrase fighter, M1 Global. After leaving the UFC, went back to World Series of Fighting, and he's one of the few to hold a win over Anderson Silva. Saw that one in his little fight notes. He fights as a middleweight and a welterweight. He's a big frame dude. Made his first run in the UFC in 2006. Had some huge fights and huge wins until 2013 when he left to go back to Pancrase and, like I said, World Series of Fighting. This will be his second run at the UFC. Although he will be a potential threat to OSP, Okami's probably going to get knocked out. I personally am taking OSP by TKO or knockout in round 3.
So I think with this fight, let me just ask you a question. What do you think of when I say the name Ovince Saint-Pierre? Or Saint-Preux, sorry.
I think of strength.
I think of knockout. I think of strength and I think of knockout. And to know that Okami's lost 5 times by KO, I think that's your key statistic. But get this, here's a counter statistic to that. When you think of OSP, how do you think of him losing?
By decision.
By decision. And Okami's main way of winning has been 16 times by decision with that 34-10 record. So I don't know. You got a matchup between 2 guys that are really bad matchups for each other. Okami with the weak chin, and OSP with the ability to wear down. And we're forgetting this is a 5-round fight.
Yeah.
So
I don't see it going 5 rounds.
No, I don't either. I think OSP gets the knockout, but I'm just talking shit. I think that Okami does have a chance.
Sure.
But it's going to take a really specific game plan and really a high fighting IQ, which I'm just not sure you can have a whole lot of that without the physical characteristics backing you up behind being 36 years old. So, yeah, OSP round 1 or round 2 knockout. What are you going?
I got round 3.
Round 3.
I think he's going to have to wear that big man down a little bit.
I'll go round 2. Round 2 knockout.
All right. Vegas has OSP at -500. Jeez. Okami at +350. So clearly everybody thinks OSP has got this, got this one without any questions.
If you want to take a plus 300 underdog, go back and get who was it, Sasaki?
Yeah.
Yeah, Sasaki, Yuta Sasaki. Go put him in if you're wanting to find a big underdog who actually has a big chance to do it. That's your man. But as far as Okami goes, did I get that right, Okami?
Yeah, Okami.
Yeah, as far as he goes, I just don't. I don't see it. Don't see it happening. Not in the same way.
But you're right. Ulka Sasaki over Jussier Formiga. That's a good one there. I like those odds. They've got Sasaki at plus 325 and definitely has the size advantage there as well.
Right. So.
Well, good deal. Well, that wraps us up, and we'll come back next week as always and find out where we stand, what we hit on, what we didn't. We'll also be talking about the next UFC 216, Ferguson versus Lee, Saturday, October 7th, T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada. Also on that card is the fight that we were hoping to see two fights back, two UFCs back. Johnson and Borg were rescheduled as the co-main event on this fight. So that's going to be a big one for us. And, you got anything else you want to add?
Yeah. If you have anything to say about anything we've said or anything you just want to say in general, please leave a comment. We love to read that. We love the support, and we love the community vibes. And if you'd like to, check us out on Instagram underneath SDP_MMA. And check us out on Twitter, too. We got our Twitter up and running. And, yeah, just get this community going and hit that subscribe button while you're at it.
Yes. And I also want to throw this out there. We're looking for someone to come join our team. We need help with audio-visual side of this show, preferably someone who is also knowledgeable in MMA and the UFC, but at the very least, I should say, a fan of the sport. We got a lot of killer ideas for the show, but we lack the technical ability to put it all together. So again, we need your help. If you're out there and you're somewhere here in the North Texas area, you'd like to be a part of this, man, we'd love to have you. We need your expertise. Let us know if you're interested. Reach out to us. Like Sky Don said, you can do it here. Subscribe to us. Leave a comment. You can join us on Twitter, SDP_MMA, also on Facebook and Instagram as well. So, yeah. Tune in before every UFC fight for our predictions and analysis. Become part of our MMA family. Until next time, be healthy. Live to fight another day, my peeps. All right? I'm Shadow Don. That's Skylar Don. We are SDP on MMA. Y'all have a great week. We'll be back next week.
See you next week.